Hello, Indigo. This is my third Indigo and first time talking on a stage here. It's really nice. So today I am talking about Steam, in particular Steam reviews. I'll be going deep dive into some aspects of it, particularly focusing on 13 games that came out from the Netherlands in the last 2 or 3 years. So before I get into that, this is me and some of the games that I've worked on. So I'm an Australian who lives in Belgium, which is a normal Australian trajectory. And I moved to Belgium around 20 years ago. It's my 20th anniversary of being a weird European. And somewhere between my movement, I started working in games, and I shipped with iLlusion's Space Pirate Trainer in 2016, Shredders in 2022, and then a couple years ago, Starship Home with a team all around the world. And then this year, accidentally helped ship Roadside Research, and coming up hopefully this year or sometime in the future, Curiosmos. And that whole time, I've been sort of building this weird thing on the side called Game Planner. And that was a tool that I built primarily to understand the Steam metrics, reviews, forums, Twitch streams, Reddit, all the stuff that goes around making the games that we're making. It started off with Space Pirate Trainer right back here, when we started getting like 1 or 2 reviews per day. And I'm like, I gotta react to these as soon as they come in, because it's super important. Because the volume wasn't high, but the intent was super important. Like some people would write in and say the game crashes when you plug in the HTC Vive this way, or when you have those little, I don't know if you remember the VR headsets of 2016, they had little dongle things, and it was all super technical, and something always went wrong, and that always came back to us as a negative review. So I built this tool to basically ping me and to annoy me at the middle of the night. As soon as someone said, "Ah!" on Steam, I would get it. And then that tool then came over to Shredders, and then I built it for MetaQuest, and then teams like Cybernate Loris have been using it for Roadside Research. So that's what I've been doing the last 10 years. So that tool started off, I skipped something. That tool started off as a review base to understand the 4,000 reviews of Space Pirate Trainer, a weird VR game on Steam. And then another team asked a while back, say, hey, could maybe we use it? So I added support to Flotsam, and Judaben from Pajama Llama asked me this very simple question sometime out of the blue in 2019. Chris, could you maybe tell me when reviews change? Like when someone changes it from negative to positive. Is that possible? And I spent like 20 minutes thinking about it, and then I spent like 3 years building it. And I'm not proud of the fact that it took a long time, but the main reason why it took so long is I didn't just build it for Space Pirate Trainer and Flotsam. I kind of built it for every game. So I've got this weird network of weird computers just looking at every review all the time. And yeah, basically I've been sitting on this for the last year until I took some time off and dug deep into the data just earlier this year and found something really, really weird. Where do reviews come from? So in the past, I've done this, we've all done this. We ask people, hey, can you please review our game? It's super important, the metrics matter. And we've all kind of just asked this over and over again. We plead on our socials, we plead on Reddit, and there's me doing it. It's, please review our game. But reviews don't come from that. We're talking to a massive audience of people who don't own our games. And the people that do review games won't review your game. Most people that do review games review one game and one only game. It's Counter-Strike 2. So if you're talking to everyone on Twitter saying, please review my game, there are around 300 million Steam accounts, and there are let's go back to that crazy number. Where did that number go? Come on, that one, that number. That's how many reviews there are. There aren't that many reviewers, and they're definitely not on Twitter. Anyway, so 52% of people who have reviewed on Steam have only done one review. So focusing on everyone on Steam who's ever done a review is not the right way. So basically, you don't focus on them. You don't focus on Twitter. You don't focus on the one-time reviewers. You focus on the other half, the 48% that have written more than one review. So this is a pretty cool number. 13% of all reviewers have written 55% of all Steam reviews. That's a tiny little margin. Like we've got, I don't know how many people here, like 200 people here. It's like this little section here, that's your Steam reviewers. You don't talk to these people over here. They're nice, and they might buy your game, but these are the ones that are going to review your game. So you just come over and say, hey, you review games, and you bought my game. Could you review? And that's a really easy message, because now you can target a smaller group of people instead of everyone in the room. So this is a slightly different way of thinking how to market my game, how to market reviews, because that's a metric that actually matters. So I guess you've seen this. Has everyone got a Steam account? Yeah, you've got a Steam account, and you've gone through. Did I hear two? Whoa. So there's this thing. There's the recent reviews, where my Steam is set to English, so I see English reviews. But this thing, this metric, this label is on every single Steam game. If you've got enough reviews, you'll get the recent reviews, but probably most games after time just have the all-time reviews, such as the English one here. So the thing that I sort of dug into was, what are those things? There was a lot of documentation about all-time reviews that recently changed from all languages to broken up into English and Russian and Chinese. But the recent reviews was really interesting. You only need 10 reviews in the last 30 days to get noticed. To get that label on your Steam page, you need 10 reviews. So every 30 days, you want to get 10 reviews. That's either 10 new players, 10 people updating their review, or 10 people who bought the game just never talked about it. So it's kind of like a mission sometimes, just sort of like, come on. You get back to these guys and say, hey, you liked it, remember? It was emotional, and you liked it. So this talk is a little bit about how to focus on those 10 people. Because you've got these guys like Stardew Valley. This is the second time it's been mentioned in 2 talks. I appreciate that. Stardew Valley, an overwhelmingly positive game, in the last 30 days has had 8,741. For you guys to get it, you don't need that many reviews. You actually need 100. And you have the same label on your Steam page. It's like the same double thumbs up from Steam saying, good job, your game's as good as Stardew Valley, but you don't need 8,000 reviews, you need 100. And so one of my favorite things is, back to the question from the Flotsam team, is what about updates? Like updates, a bad review from this guy, @C, a couple of days later, updated it with an edit because there was a patch, a really beautiful patch note was written in a nice narrative way. I really appreciated that. That's a really good tip. Always write your patch notes nicely. And it floats old reviews back to the top as positive. But the big question is, where do you find these people who like your game, that have bought your game? It's super easy. And this is my favorite part of the talk. It's the first Venn diagram I've seen at INDIGO. Well, you got these guys. It's a big chunk of people. It's 7.5 million people who have written more than one review. And some of them, that little, what color is that? Orange? Baby poo green? They own your game. And then there's this other little chunk. People who own your game, that also post in your forums. That is your bullseye. That's your target. So that's turning this group of people here down to, hi, hey. It's really simple, because we have a one-to-one relationship on the Steam forums. I see you there. Hey. Sorry if that was weird. And the way we see that is that little symbol. This was added by Valve, I don't know, sometime in the last 2 years. This is a little symbol to say, yep, Joe Coffey owns my game. So does the real John Connor. So does Da Priest. These are 3 people who own the game. I can talk to them whenever I want. They're my besties. And then I applied some research on these 13 games from the Netherlands. So these are 13 games that have been sort of pretty popular the last couple of years. And went through all the Steam data, all the people that have reviewed on their games, all the people that have posted on their forums. And 77% of forum posters own those games. This is a weighted average. So like some games had slightly more, some slightly less. But generally speaking, most people that post in your forums already own your game. So this is a captive audience. So when I say, hey, it's not just you, it's actually this front row. They've all posted in the forums. They're sitting there. They're either complaining about the game, praising the game, or asking for help about the game, or just enjoying the community of the game. They're all in the forums. 14% of those, so not the front row, just back to you again, has reviewed the game. So there's a whole bunch of people who post it, own it, we know it, we see them, that little flag is on their post, are in the forums, and haven't reviewed yet. So that's a pretty cool target audience. If you need to get 10 more people to review your game, they own it, they have it, you can see it. And one of my favorite things is 85% of those reviews are positive. Like, this is a really, really, really primed audience who love your game. So here's the raw stats for those games. Like, it's all pretty positive. I've ranked them all by percentage owners of the game in the forums. So we've got Luma up the top, all the way down. Bulwark Falconeer is a fantastically interesting story if you look at their forums. Thomas is nailing it at posting replies to people. I saw him yesterday. He's like, I didn't know I did that, but yes, he really does. He's really in the forums. And then you can see the average people, like not many people have reviewed, but that ratio is still way higher than the old review to owners ratios that you've seen. So like when you talk about the metrics used by Game Discovery Co. or any of those sort of like how many copies have been sold, it's usually like 1 to 5%. We're up to 13.8% of reviewers. So the ratio of reviewers is way higher in the forums, but still, there's a big margin for improvement. There's a lot of people that you can see them in the forums with a little tick that haven't reviewed. So instead of going to Twitter, instead of going to Facebook or wherever dad posts these days, you can say, hey, front row, please review, please. And then another little funny little thing, those forum reviewers are captive in the Steam ecosystem. They review way, way more. So we were talking before about 7.5 million people have reviewed more than once. Like, look at this. These are serial reviewers. Most people that reply in a forum are guaranteed to have done 6 or more reviews. You've got whale reviewers over here. Like 17.6% of the average Dutch game, 17.6% of forum posters have done 50 reviews. Like, that's staggering. So the more indie the game goes, the more likely that it's getting reviewed. That is a fact that I've seen. But your forum is there. People might have, they just need a little nudge, like, hey, review the game. Just like those tweets we saw before. So here's a little case study. This is Bulwark. This is a Thomas is a game from 2024. There are 902 people who have posted on his forum. 77% own the game. 93% of those people that have posted reviewed positively. 93%. And yeah, he's busy. He's replied to 80.8% of all topics. So anytime someone replies, he'll reply to 4 out of every 5 of them. So that's a lot of work, but it keeps the community active, alive, and interested. So this is kind of what he does. He just didn't put it into a system. And I see Adrian just walking in too. This is about you too, pal. I just pulled the numbers on Hidden Folk just before this talk to see what happened. He's responded. I don't know if you've seen Hidden Folk. It's a really great game. Hidden Folk 2 is outside. He's responded to 98% of topics on the Steam forums. Like, it's staggering. So I was going to give this award. I put this slide up before about Bulwark to present this as the winner of the Dutch posting too much on the Steam forums, but it's actually Hidden Folk. It's a staggeringly well-manicured Steam forums. And so one other thing I wanted to say is the Steam reviewers, they're not haters. They freaking love your games. Like, look at that. Look at these. These are people who love your games. It's like 85%. They all love it. 85% of forum reviewers, if they come from the forums, they're going to generally like your game, and they're going to praise it. But they haven't reviewed yet. There's still so many people that want to love your game, that haven't thought to go engaged to do, I'll review Bulwark, or I'll review Hidden Folk. They're still there, and if you need those 10 reviews to get past that barrier of having a recently reviewed label on Steam, this is the place to do it. Whoops. So Stop asking strangers for reviews and go straight to the Steam forums. It's super easy. Like, you don't need to do all this data analysis. You could. It helps to find those people that have liked your game, but the reality is super simple. Just go to Steam forums, maybe on Monday, maybe on Tuesday, and look at the ones that have been posted since you were last there and just say, hey, be natural, talk to them, and you might be able to sponsor a review. So, whoops, I messed that one up. There we go. Yeah, don't do that. Don't go to Steam anymore. Don't go to Twitter. Don't go to other places. You can do that for other marketing reasons. And Imogen later on will be talking to you about how important TikTok is. But for the purpose of getting your game through the Steam algorithm, you don't need to go much further than the Steam forums. You just engage there. You don't have to do a simple thing like this, like some of the patch notes that Apurva suggested, like turning your patch notes, like fix bug 66 or whatever. Your patch notes also go to the Steam forums. Like, every time you do a news article, it doesn't just stay in the ether, it goes into your forum. There's a post right there. Every time you go, updated build 66, blah, 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 that is a Steam forum post. And it's waiting for you to engage with. People do reply to it. They say, I didn't like how the mouse controls work. This is giving you feedback for the next patch notes. But they want to feel heard. And when they're heard, they might react with a positive review. And so basically, that's the end of my talk. I do have a little bit of time to go still. So if there's any questions, I'd love to hear them. And I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you all about this nonsense. But simple, go to the Steam forums tomorrow and check it out.
Okay, we do have time for some questions, so put your hands up very high because I'm short. Okay, and I have to run the mic over to you.
Wonderful talk, loved it. I was wondering why some people post on the Steam forums without owning the game. Why would they do that?
Well, there's two reasons. There's three reasons. First one is the game hasn't come out yet. All right, so people do post on many games, even demos, they haven't come out yet. So they'll be like, cool, I'm curious about the game. When is it? Number one question, when is it coming out on Linux? Why don't you have support for my language? Blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of analytical questions about something coming out. If it has come out, they're usually posting because they're curious about the game, usually. There are massive exceptions. I don't know if you heard about Mixtape 4 weeks ago. It was an Annapurna game. Mixtape is a adorable coming-of-age 90s game that was absolutely slammed by really, really aggressive trolls who dug into that game. I don't know if I have the data. That's a tree. I can't see what I'm doing. No, I'm not going to do that. The date, it's too hard to find. Anyway, Mixtape came out about a month ago, and their forum ratio of owner to poster to owner, we saw before was 80% for most of those indie games. It was 10% for Mixtape. And the reason why, it was being just hoarded by people who wanted to post hate. And it was really, really aggressive still aggressive. This happened maybe 6 years ago to another indie game called Oblitz. I'm just going to call it Oblitz. It's had 2 O's, and I've been learning Dutch for too long, and it kills my head. That was also obliterated. So a lot of people who didn't own the game posted there too. And so that's an exception. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's usually curiosity or wanting to find out more.
Hi. Another question. First of all, thank you so much for your talk. It was very interesting and a different perspective as well than the usual that you hear. I have one question, and maybe it's very direct. But the question is, what does it do? Like you said yourself, this is a lot of effort. Apart from having, Steam validate you basically with that tag, what is the actual return of investment, if we want to be?
I wouldn't say it's a lot of work. Opening up the Steam on Monday morning and going through the forums, it's possibly 10 minutes. Most Steam forum activity, it's not that high volume. Oh.
Was that your? Did you have more on your? Did you have more on your?
Yeah.
Keep going.
I'll be super quick. It's only going into the Steam forums. What's changed since last time you did it? It could be anything from 1 post to 10 posts. It's usually not that. The volume is not high. Even on Mixtape, which is like a toxic, terrifying place, they've only had 10 different topics this week. So that's a high volume one. So most of the ones from this ecosystem, from Belgium, from Italy, from Europe, will have usually, especially indies, only a couple of posts per week, maybe a couple per day. So that itself isn't that much. So what's the purpose of it? It's to get back into the not upcoming stuff, but at least into the recommended engine from Steam. If you have 10 posts, it shows 10 reviews, it shows to the Steam algorithm that this game has traction. And so you want to get caught up into some sort of the black box that is Steam, and so it picks it up way faster if it has that label, especially if it's very, very positive. There's plenty of ways to do this. You just go to Steam forums and be nice.
So it's for the community, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have time for one very quick question. So, let's see.
So there is this, I guess, let's say this misconception, then you're kind of saying of forums on Steam being kind of this cesspool of hate.
Yeah.
Is what a lot of developers think. Where do you think that comes from? Is that them not taking ownership of the Steam forums? Is there something that they can do on the Steam forums like to change that? Is there something else going on? Where does this misconception come from?
So there are some really, really aggressively angry dudes on the internet. I don't know if you have picked up on that. And they do go to Steam. They are usually in the Counter-Strike 2 Steam forums. Do not moderate the Counter-Strike 2 Steam forums. That's my tip. It's really, really grumpy. So there are places, concentrated places of hostility. The Mixtape one, that became one of those places. But generally speaking, all of the games that I've studied, all of them, are just really happy, positive places. That 85% of positive reviews reflects that. People mostly post about things they like on Steam forums. They do complain about your resolution settings being annoying. They do complain about the fact that there's no Turkish translations. That will happen. But most of the posting, even those, are positive. And so, yeah, stay away from the Counter-Strike 2 forums. Stay away from the Mixtape forums, unless you're there to be like nice, but you're still going to get slammed. So most forums, super easy places. All of my games have been just lovely, or just usually complaining about the VR headset not working.